Okay, in the previous section there, I talked about how important it is to split test your copy and your images to determine which are going to be more successful with your audience. And split testing really is fundamental of doing any advertising, but particularly doing online advertising, where you can get so much data so fast and you can make changes to your campaign so quickly. It really is something that needs to be incorporated in all of your advertising to make sure that you're getting the best results from your ads and that you're constantly improving your ad performance. So, starting with some split testing principles here. First, you want to test major things first. Okay, what I mean by that is, test things that are going to have really significant impact on your campaigns. As an example, you could test one audience versus another audience, right? So let's say that we wanted to sell running equipment. We could test selling that running equipment to marathon runners versus track and field athletes, right? Two very different groups of people, and we could test selling to male versus female audiences, right? So those are the types of things that are going to have a major impact on performance in your campaigns. So test major things first. You can't test everything at once, and you also can't afford to put too much of your money into testing, right? So you want to make sure that you're testing the most important things first. Second rule that kind of goes along with that is don't do subtle tests. And what I mean is you don't want to just test changing like a word in your copy or using a slightly different image from one ad to the next. You want to do changes that are pretty darn bold so that your tests can test one concept versus an entirely different concept, because that's where you'll find that you'll have dramatic differences in performance. And then once you've tested those major things that you can think of, then you'll start getting down into running more subtle tests and really kind of refining performance. But before we go for refinement, we want to test just really big, potentially game-changing tests. Always have a test running. Okay, you should not be doing advertising online, and particularly on the Facebook advertising platform where doing tests are so easy. You should not be running campaigns without having a test running. Really, you're just throwing away money, because there's something that you can be testing at all times to improve the performance of your campaigns. And I suggest that you generally test with 10 to 20% of your budget. Okay, so if you have $100 a day to spend, you'll take $10 or $20 of that budget and you'll use it purely on ads that are testing new things. Okay, you usually don't want to use too much more than 10 to 20% of your budget, because then if you have losing tests that are running and your losing tests are incorporated in too much of your budget, then that can really drag down the overall performance of your campaign. So take 10 to 20%, whatever you're comfortable with, and use that percentage of your budget for doing testing. Once you have run some tests, there's a saying that you want to feed the winners and starve the losers. So you want to look for the tests that perform well, and those you want to add more budget to, right? Once you find an image or a piece of copy or a target audience that's doing really well, you want to add more budget to those, and then you want to starve the losers. You want to cut the budget of the losing tests so that you're putting all of your budget into winners. Okay, so what to split test? In no particular order here. But there are things that are going to make major differences, and some things that are going to make less of an impact. But audiences first and foremost. Your audience is your most important thing, and the most important thing that you can test. If you put the right ad in front of the wrong audience, it's not going to do well no matter what. So you really want to work on finding that right audience. And on the Facebook ad platform, different audiences can cost dramatically different rates for you to get your ads shown to them. So you may not think that there's a big difference again between those marathon runners and those track and field athletes, but again, Facebook is an auction system. So let's say that companies like Nike and Reebok and New Balance and all these companies have decided that they want to target marathon runners, and then you go and target marathon runners, your ad costs could be dramatically higher to target marathon runners than they are to target track and field athletes. So, and that's because you were competing in an auction system with those major brands. But if those major brands, for whatever reason, were not going after the track and field athletes, you could have a much better environment where you can get your ad shown for a much lower cost. So testing between those audiences can make a huge difference in the performance and the ROI of your ads. Testing audiences based on age. Okay, the 25-year-old person may respond totally differently and cost a total different rate than the 55-year-old person. So split testing age groups, split testing gender. These are, major things. And then you start getting down to more of the ad level, right? Images, copy, okay? Those are things at the ad level that you will test, and those will have a big difference as well, certainly. But they're not, as foundational as the audience level tests. And then finally, don't forget that you can test things outside of your ads and outside of your ad campaigns as well, such as landing pages, right? The page that you are actually sending somebody to once they have clicked on your ad. There are all kinds of tests that you can do there. So don't just stop or limit your testing to the actual campaigns in Facebook. Consider the other things that people are going to interact with as they leave your ad once they've clicked on it. So I just want to show you a handful of examples here to show some of the dramatic differences that split testing can have on your ad campaign performance. So in this case, we're just split testing two different images. I've graded them out for privacy reasons, but two different images. And this one is really just a solid background, and this is a piece of jewelry that's over that solid background. And this one is somebody, this is an image that's broken up kind of into three sections. It's got some copy in a box here in the middle. It incorporates much more color. It's got somebody wearing that necklace, and then here again is that necklace just on the solid background. You can see here shrunk down, and then it also has a free bonus that somebody gets offered. So this ad has a lot more to it. It's got a lot more color, a lot more pop. It's communicating much more to it. I would have thought that this ad would have done much better than this one, but as you can see here, this one has a click-through rate that's about double of this one, and a cost per click that's about half of this one, and also is getting a better conversion rate to people actually purchasing as well. So you just never know. Again, when I created this ad, I thought, oh, for sure this one's going to perform better than this one, and I was absolutely wrong. Copy test. This one was really interesting to me. So this is a free plus shipping offer, and you can see here it says just pay shipping, now as low as $3.57. And here it's the exact same copy, just pay shipping, now as low as $3.57, but with an entirely an additional, I should say, benefit statement added onto it. Free 72-page guide to X included. And again, I thought, wow, how could this not perform better? It's the exact same statement, but we're also saying that you're going to get this great thing free in addition to this initial value proposition. And again, dead wrong. You can see here, look at the click-through rate compared here, 0.418 versus 0.183. It's a massive difference. And you can see here in the ad cost per click, 0.499, so a little under 50 cents versus $1.14 almost. Conversion rate much higher. Everything about this brief copy performed better. So you never know. You got to do your tests. Here is a split test on age groups. This is from 40 to 44. This is from 60 to 65. You can see here it's interesting on this one. The 60 to 65-year-olds are clicking much more, 0.217 versus 0.074, but they are converting significantly less. Now this is a very small sample size, so you'd have to run this ad much longer to see if that held true, but 60 to 65-year-olds right now are clicking at nearly 3 times the rate of the 40 to 44-year-olds. So always split test, as much as you can here, different ages, images, copy. And I just want to show you, the impact of doing split tests, you can see here this lighter green line down here. This is the click-through rate, and you can see as this campaign progressed over the course of the week, look how the click-through rate jumps various times here over the course of the week. And that's because during these flat periods, we're running different split tests. We find the winner, we cut the losers, we feed the winners, starve the losers, and you can see here, because we found a winner and we've put our budget behind the winner, our click-through rate goes way up. We do some more tests, we feed the winners, starve the losers, our click-through rate goes up, and we're just repeating this process over and over again. As you can see, this dark blue line, our cost per conversion as we do this, comes down, down, down. That's the way that you win at this game of doing paid online advertising, is you split test, you constantly look for improvements, and those improvements add up to better performance for you over time. So when it comes to split testing, you want to make sure that you're making decisions about winners and losers based on good statistics, not just taking a guess. So if you click here, there's a really handy split testing calculator that you can use that will allow you to very quickly plug in the information about your ads and determine if you have a statistically significant sample to make a decision about a split test winner versus a loser. So keep that handy, bookmark it in your browser, and just refer to it anytime you do a split test. Just quickly plug in the numbers. It takes you 5 seconds, and then you'll know if you truly have a winner or a loser. So those are some split testing strategies. Again, what's critical is that you're always split testing something. Go for major tests first, and then go for more refined, lower impact tests as a campaign matures. But constantly do split testing and use that split testing calculator to make sure that the tests you're doing are actually valid, good tests before you make your decisions about winners versus losers.